Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast. After your long hiatus, I am your new host, Devin Gallant, taking over for Kyle Skinner, but I am lucky to have two returning veterans to host this podcast with me, Craig Anich and Eric Long. We'll start with Eric. How are you today?
Feeling blessed, Devin. Blessed to be a permanent guest again on the podcast till you, Kyle, or the fans demand my resignation for being too mean to Craig.
I say, what if it's me?
I gotta say, I only noticed a little while ago that Dev and I look and are dressing the exact same, with the beard and the red shirt. Craig, I don't know why you didn't get the memo for the dress code.
Well, you needed to tell me 3 or 4 months in advance to catch up to you guys with the beard. So this is on you. This is on you.
Well, that's fair there, Craig. Eric, your shirt is orange, but all right, we'll just go with that.
It's orange in this light.
Oh, okay.
It's
like the what color dress is this kind of thing.
Precisely, that's what it is.
Yeah. Everyone knows what that is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. We're good.
Craig, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. How can I not be anything but? The Chiefs are getting ready to go.
Yeah, so that's
ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Clearly a diehard fan of the Chiefs. You are clearly overhyped on all your prospects. Your guys are looking for a three-peat. You need an outlet to just vent. So here we are. We're back. We have someone recording this. I hope it's probably not me. How do you feel about the Chiefs offseason, their draft? What do you think the odds are of their three-peat coming up?
I'll start with the last part first. I think their odds are really good.
Boo.
They lost one key piece, L'Jarius Sneed.
I believe they are the odds-on favorite in Vegas to do it again.
Yeah, but unless like someone retires or a massive star is traded, it's always the Super Bowl champion and the Super Bowl runner-up are always the favorites at this point of the year. So that doesn't really mean anything to me.
Well, now that Brandon Ayuk is out there demanding a trade.
Yeah, so did Debo. He signed. I'm not reading too much into that yet.
Yeah, let's put the brakes on San Fran trading trading Ayuk to because that's not happening.
I'm not thinking that's way too soon. That's 100% just negotiation tactics.
Leverage.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but again, it happened. They signed Debo.
Yeah,
Debo, they had people singing in the club about him dancing and like getting traded, and then he signed a week later. So
they did the same too.
Yeah. So it's not. I wouldn't worry about that yet. If I'm San
Greg
Fran
is not
fans.
concerned.
Not concerned about San Fran. I'm a KC fan. I'm not concerned about anyone.
Oh, what a luxury!
Back on the rails, Greg. How do you feel about their offseason? How do you feel about the draft? What do you think? What do you think's coming for the Chiefs this year?
Defense will be still top 10. Because they just draft so many secondary players with high potential in the late rounds. They just need a little bit of coaching up and technique. And they just do it a year in advance. So by the time someone leaves, they have someone ready to step up. Jamari Connor is probably the next guy to come in. Same kind of positions, draft years, Sneed. 4th round, safety cornerback hybrid. He'll jump in. He'll be good. So I'm not seeing much of a difference in defense. And then they did what they always do. They have one weakness, and they address in the offseason. They went out and got some speed and some guys that can track a deep ball, and Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. So that was their one weakness. That was their one. Sorry, what are you saying? What are you saying? Speak up.
I was going to say Xavier Worthy's having a good camp with Mahomes already.
Already, yeah. Yeah, already. So
guys, calm down. There's one pass.
Yeah, but
it was a beautiful pass.
You're right. It's like 2 days in. It was their first day of camp. But it's just one of those things where it just seems like they went out ahead and we have a weakness at wide receiver. Somehow they won the Super Bowl regardless of it. Let's address it so that's not an issue.
It was all because they brought back Mecole Hardman, the X Factor.
Well, he predicted the win.
Yeah.
Well,
he didn't know which team he was going to be on, but he predicted that win over the 49ers.
If I would bet that Andy Reid and the Chiefs would not have signed Hollywood Brown if they thought they could get Xavier Worthy. Because Hollywood Brown is, in my opinion, not very good. He is a okay outside receiver. Xavier Worthy is probably going to surpass him this year. I think they would have gone a different route. But you have now these two deep threats that are just going to open up the middle of the field for Pacheco and Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes to just create a great offense. So I think the Chiefs are really on the right track.
Yeah, you can look at it a couple of ways, right? Like whenever we don't know what's going to happen with Bryce yet.
Yeah, that's the other
right. Like,
factor.
Is he going to be suspended for this year? Is it going to be next year? I don't understand why there's a delay. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. He should probably be suspended this year. But if he's not, you now have two deep threats to open up for two intermediate targets. And like you were saying, though, sorry to cut you off there. Like you were saying, I agree they probably wouldn't sign Hollywood Brown. They signed him to a 1-year contract, if I'm not mistaken, though.
Yeah, I believe so.
Right. So look for the same kind of thing that happened with Rice. Real slow start, not getting much. As soon as the halfway point or after their first bye week, if it's late in the season, which I believe it is for the Chiefs, I could be completely wrong. I just know it's not a nice bye week, so it might be just too early. But I can see end of the year, all of a sudden it's Worthy instead of Brown. And then at that point, Brown just signs with someone else and Worthy's there for the next 4 years. It's one of those things where it's
Worthy will step in and take over that role very Brown. I don't think Brown's going to hold on to that role. And just look, it's a 1-year deal for $3.5 million.
Yeah. So it'll happen this year. It'll happen before the playoffs. Worthy will get more than Brown at some point. So if you're drafting Brown, just you gotta play that. You gotta play that like level of usage at some point. There's going to be a point in the year where it's going to turn, and you're just going to have to try your best to predict when it's going to happen, and it's really hard to do with Andy Reid offense.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown is going way too high for my liking in fantasy football.
Devin, pump the brakes. We're not far into the podcast season yet. Save that hot take for a couple weeks from now.
Hot take can stay hot for a while, man.
All right. Stay hot. Don't worry. And Eric Long. So I got some questions for you.
Go ahead.
Things have not been great in Indianapolis for the last few years.
Oh,
things have been mediocre in Indianapolis for the last couple of years. If you want to call that not great, that's fine. But we weren't a bottom feeder. I guess we were. We did get.
Well, I said not great. Anyway, I'm going to finish my thought before you keep interrupting me.
Well, I felt like I was entitled to interrupt you there. You kind of came at me with that whole Indianapolis sucks comment.
More to come at you, Eric. You're
so sensitive.
Quarterbacks for week 1. 2016, Andrew Luck. 2017, Scott Tolzien. 2018, Andrew Luck. 2019, Jacoby Brissett. 2020, Phillip Rivers. 2021, Carson Wentz. 2022, Matt Ryan. So you've had a different quarterback start for multiple years in a row. Yeah, 2023, Anthony Richardson show up, and Anthony Richardson is going to lead the Colts to win the division this year.
First of all, keep Scott Tolzien's name out of your fucking mouth.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't aware.
I don't really expect, to be honest, I don't expect too much from them this year. I think for all intents and purposes, Anthony Richardson is still, to me, very much like a rookie, even though he played a few games and showed some good stuff. So I'm hoping he'd be able to build on that and, maybe down the stretch, put together a few games, maybe get into the wild card. Because let's be honest, unless we get really lucky, I have no aspirations of winning that division based on how well the Texans played last year and the pieces they put together this year. That's just a well-built team. And if we're going to be that good and contend for the division, God willing, I think it all hinges on whether Jonathan Taylor has a great year or not. He's a bit healthier than he was last year, but he's another year older, susceptible to injuries. But if he can stay healthy, he'll be our X factor, I think, in whether or not we can push for the playoffs.
Yeah. I think I'm actually more bullish on the Colts than you are. I might have been a little hot earlier when I said they're going to win the division because obviously Houston is still there. But I really believe in Shane Steichen as an offensive coach. He got Gardner Minshew to lead that team to 9-8 finish, which is just absurd. The offensive line had a terrible 2022 season. They were really good in 2023. They're going to be even better in 2024. They got a really nice piece in Latu in the rookie draft is probably the best rusher. If he can play, then like they actually have something on defense, but like they're not going to rely on that defense. Jonathan Taylor is back. He has a contract, so all of a sudden he's healthy. Anthony Richardson, if he can stay on the field, like that team is going to be really exciting to watch to me this year.
I'm really curious to see how Richardson fits in, assuming he's a full year healthy. Does anyone else not think that like the Chargers signing Greg Roman is kind of a missed opportunity for Roman himself, and he should have been signed as the offensive coordinator for the Colts? Like a lead running back, athletic running quarterback that just screams his entire offense. Him being signed on the Chargers is a waste. What is he going to do with Herbert? All he's done is get old running backs to join him, and it's a Harbaugh run, rush first offense. And I just feel like that's exactly what the Colts need right now until Richardson can get more comfortable in the pocket, run that play action pistol offense, and you're good.
I can see where you're coming from the Roman perspective, but no, because Shane Steichen is not going to bow down to Greg Roman. Shane Steichen is a better offensive creator than Greg Roman ever has.
Yes.
Greg Roman's going to do really boring things in LA, and it's going to be great, and they're going to win way more games than people expect. But Shane Steichen is way more creative, and he's going to get that offense humming way more than Greg Roman can ever do.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, Craig, I find your argument quite shallow and pedantic.
Do you now?
Shallow and pedantic.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, moving on.
Why? You just dropped a bomb on me. Come on now, expand.
Well, no, that pretty much tied the bow on the subject. You think that opened up this whole different dialogue? I tied the bow on the subject. Devin had posed a good question prior to recording. Can anyone dethrone Christian McCaffrey this year as the number one, basically fantasy MVP, I guess? To be honest, I'm not really sure if there's anyone, that I'd say is the clear cut, but someone who I think is possible could be Bijan Robinson. Based on how well he played last year and the production he had last year, now he has a way better quarterback that's going to keep the offense on the field for longer, many more scoring drives that he could potentially punch the ball in. Thank the lucky stars that Arthur Smith is no longer their coach, and that they have a very, very good offensive coordinator coming in to run that offense. If there's anybody that's going to do it, I think it may be him. Not saying it's going to happen, but if Craig, if you held your potato gun to my head and said pick a guy, I'd pick Bijan Robinson.
I don't have one of those. I don't have a potato gun.
Well, since like last week.
But I will give you one other name. And Devin, this is your chance to crack an egg of knowledge on us if you want. Saquon Barkley in Philly.
Oh.
Well, I was going to ask the question before Eric decided to throw the question out there.
Commandeer this podcast.
I was going to.
Well, Devin, to be fair, you did ask the question. You just didn't ask it while recording.
Well, to be fair, I gave you guys both time to talk about your teams, and you did not give me time to talk about my team.
You're a Colts fan. You already talked about.
To be fair,
but yeah,
all right, perfect segue. Hit us.
What's it?
The right answer for the question of who can supplant Christian McCaffrey as the RB1 is Bijan Robinson. Eric is not wrong. Breece Hall has an outside chance. He would be the only other one I would consider. Saquon Barkley, I don't think is going to supplant as a number one RB in fantasy. Although things are he's going to have a great season. I think he is very underrated in drafts right now. I think he's going way too late. He's dropping into like the mid-second rounds right now, which is just crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
DeAndre Swift got tackled at the 1 yard line 6 times last year. That's 6 additional touchdowns that Saquon Barkley is going to score.
Yeah.
Just add those to his totals. The Eagles run within the 5 yard line at like 76 times last year, where the Giants ran at 32. So 36, which is like half. Like just the amount of runs that the Eagles do with their running backs in goal line territory, as opposed to what the Giants did last year, is absurd. Saquon Barkley is going to have an absolute monster season. He's not going to put up huge yards, but he's going to score the touchdowns because they just don't want Jalen Hurts to be hurt all year.
And can I throw one more little thing in there that's different for the Eagles this year than last year? Is what was the key for all of Jalen Hurts' QB sync touchdowns?
Obviously, Kelsey.
That fucking push up the middle.
Yeah.
Not there anymore.
Yeah.
You get a bigger back, an athletic back like Barkley back there. If that push isn't there, he's going to be able to make the guy miss and score or overpower.
I think everyone's thinking that the Eagles, with Kellen Moore as a brand new offensive coordinator who's never done this tush push, that they're just going to keep doing it. He's not going to do that. He's going to use his weapons. Like Kellen Moore likes to prioritize his weapons. He made CeeDee Lamb a huge thing. He targeted Keenan Allen like a monster last year in the Chargers before everything went off the rails. Like he just targets receivers and gets his running backs going. Like Barkley's going to have a great season, but I think it's either McCaffrey, Bijan, or Breece Hall. If the offensive line can stay healthy in New York, then Breece Hall can have another huge season. But
I can see that. I can see that with Breece Hall for sure. PPR, I swap Hall for Barkley.
PPR, you swap Hall for absolutely.
And I still think
Barkley's not going to catch passes this year. I can tell you that.
I think he will.
He'll catch some.
I think he's going to keep going. He did in New York. He's a receiving back.
He's not going to. Well, he got 91 receptions like 7 years ago.
Barkley has not been in the league for 7 years. He is not.
This year will be his 7th year.
It's all right.
Okay, let's quickly move over to wide receivers. We don't have to spend too much time on every position because we're going to a lot more breakdowns. Wide receivers are tricky this year. There's a lot of question marks. Justin Jefferson has a rookie quarterback. Jamar Chase has a quarterback with a injured wrist. Who do you guys think is going to finish as the wide receiver number 1 this year?
Ooh, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, I'm gonna go as a contrarian. I'm gonna say Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is gonna probably surpass CeeDee Lamb in yards. He might not beat him in touchdowns, but I think the difference is going to be just enough to make Tyreek Hill our wide receiver 1 this year. I'm drafting him as the wide receiver 1. I'm not confident in Dallas right now. They have too many pieces on their offensive line. Who knows what's going on with contracts with Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. They have too much to figure out. I'm just not certain until I see CeeDee Lamb showing up in training camp that I can put him as my wide receiver 1.
Fair. I could totally see it happening too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm not too worried about Jamar Chase, to be honest, with Burrow. But yeah, Jefferson is going to go in the second round.
Sorry,
Jefferson is going to go in the second round this year.
I've seen him going as late as like 9, 10-ish.
I can see him going in the second.
Yeah, I mean, he might in some drafts, but if Justin Jefferson goes in the second round and he's there for me in the second round available, I'm definitely picking him up.
Well, yeah, because how can you not? But
yeah, how can you not?
But like, oh my God, the quarterback situation there is awful.
Do you want to know? Actually, well, my opinion, someone who's going too high as a wide receiver right now is is DJ Moore. He's going as like a mid-late third round guy. You have look, I get Caleb Williams is good, but he's still a rookie. They drafted probably the best wide receiver in the draft. They brought in Keenan Allen, who was a target monster.
I'm sorry, can we back up on that?
Yeah. He forgot about Mr. Harrison.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. Okay, fine. Yeah, he's not as good as Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but yeah. So top 3, you are correct. He is an elite talent.
Yeah. But I mean, like, how do you take a guy like DJ Moore that high when there's that many mouths to feed? There's Cole Kmet, who's an okay tight end. Like, I feel like if you drafted DJ Moore in the 3rd round, you'd be paying way too much for him, which means that this year I dub DJ Moore as the Salt Bay of fantasy football. He is woefully overpriced and will give you
like Salt Bay.
that is massively underwhelming.
Wow.
Which is Salt Bay. I'm not familiar with his game. I apologize.
I can't believe you went through all that and did not give a shout out to Gerald Everett, also, who is going to be stealing a lot of touches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could have gone on and on.
Touches.
It's just, DJ Moore is a fine receiver, but there's so many more mouths to feed. Like, how often was Keenan Allen targeted? Now Keenan Allen probably won't get as many targets as he got when he was with the Chargers, but like, he's going to demand a lot of receptions.
I completely agree. I'm not touching DJ Moore. To be honest, I'm not touching pretty much anyone in Chicago's offense. I think in real football, they're going to be so much better than they were last year. Like, they can't be worse. But I'm not, for fantasy, I'm not touching DJ Moore. I'm not touching Keenan Allen. And I'm not touching either of the tight ends. There's just way too much of a spread. And I'm an Eagles fan, so, like, DeAndre Swift, bye.
You saw what he did. He's acceptable, but he's nothing great.
Any hot takes, Craig, you want to get off your chest before we sign off on our inaugural revamp of this podcast?
Any hot takes? I feel like I've just been talking shit the whole time. I don't even know if there's anything else
That
to
is
say.
why we bring you on, is just to talk shit.
I mean, I don't know. All I can say is whoever the number 1 tight end right now going into the draft is probably not going to be the number 1 tight end at the end of the year.
Sam Laporta?
I don't see it.
Yeah, me neither.
Same kind of thing with Chicago. There are a lot of mouths to feed.
His touchdown total was just unsustainable.
Yeah.
Like, he had just an average, well, okay, for a rookie, he had an amazing
Great season.
But his touchdown total, like, that's what pushed him up. And I just don't see him catching that many touchdowns again. I'm going to wait until the middle of the 5th, 6th round, and I can grab Mark Andrews or Dalton Kincaid, or like the 7th round, I can grab George Kittle.
So you just said a name that I think could be number 1. Dalton Kincaid. There's some young or inexperienced receivers in Buffalo coming up, and Josh Allen is not going to stop throwing the ball.
Is that a bold prediction? Do you want to make the first bold prediction?
Is that bold? I don't think it's that bold. Who's Buffalo's number 1 receiver right now? Keon Coleman?
Dalton Kincaid.
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel?
Curtis
right?
Samuel.
And their first pick was a 2nd rounder, Keon Coleman.
Yes.
So you're going to put your money on him being the number 1 receiver over a tight end who's athletic as a wide receiver who already has chemistry with Allen.
Yes.
Like, no, it's is going to be Allen's favorite target next year will be Kincaid.
I completely agree. I think they need to find someone who needs to work on the outside, because I think the interior of Buffalo's offense is going to be way too cluttered.
Yeah.
If I'm targeting anyone on Buffalo's offense, it's going to be Cook, as I think he's going to have a huge year as a running back. I don't think his 2 touchdowns per season is going to continue. I think he'll get a lot more. But if I have to grab a pass catcher from that group, I'm targeting Kincaid. For sure.
It's Kincaid. And he is, where is he going right now? 5th, 6th tight end?
Yeah, he is currently the
Like,
5th overall tight end. He's going 5th round-ish.
reach.
Yeah.
Like, reach firm in the 4th, because at that point, you're probably most like going to have at least 1 or 2 running backs, receivers, and at least a solid player in the other position. You'd
Yeah.
be 1 running back, 2 receivers, or 1 receiver and 2 running backs. And then there's Kincaid in the 4th. And it's like, this could be the number 1 target for Buffalo.
Yep. You're not wrong. And tying yourself to a Josh Allen led offense has not been a detriment to anyone in fantasy.
No.
All right, guys. I think
listen, hey, whoa. It wouldn't be a Dines podcast.
Whoa.
Especially if we're coming back from a giant hiatus, if I did not give a bold prediction before we signed off. I predict.
Apologies, my lord.
That, this is so bold, guys. Are you ready for the boldness?
No, not actually.
That maybe this one wouldn't be as much as a surprise. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, the 3 number 1 players that in the Falcons skill position roles, will all finish top 4 in their respective positions in fantasy for the year.
Which would make Atlanta having a top 4 offense?
Maybe. Now, Bijan Robinson, we could probably say that.
I mean, is Atlanta going to have a top?
We have all these options that are just putting up points, but they're not a top up. Yes.
Sure,
top
maybe,
4 running back, tight end, receiver, but not the quarterback or the offense. You might as well say it, man. Kirk
Cousins is not going to be a top 4 quarterback in fantasy because he doesn't run. Like, he could throw 40 touchdowns and he still wouldn't be a top 5 because he doesn't run.
Is that right? Is that what's happened? If 40 touchdown passing quarterbacks are not top 5?
Well, not anymore, because your top 5 quarterbacks are all quarterbacks that are mobile.
He's really? kind of right. Like, you can be. Like, I mean, Tua finished with the top passing yards last year, and he was the QB 16.
Yeah, but how many passing touchdowns? If he's saying 40 touchdowns passing.
40 touchdowns. I would have to look. Eric just threw this on me.
Yeah, he's throwing numbers here. 40 is a lot. 40
I can't host and look these stats up this quick.
Why not?
Let's look at this way. If a guy gets 200 rushing yards, that's the equivalent of 8. Excuse me, not even close. That is the equivalent of 5 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said 8. That math was not correct.
It's definitely numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
200 yards rushing is 5 passing touchdowns.
So let me get this straight. Your first 3 picks then would be Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, because you can get the first 3 rounds.
You could get them all.
Yeah.
You would do that.
It's possible. If it made sense to take him, yeah, I could see that combination happening.
All right, let's take I don't want to stretch this on because we're supposed to be wrapping this up, but
here's the thing though, Devin. I don't think I would take Kyle Pitts in the 3rd round because I think he'd still be available in later rounds.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you're right.
Even if I think he'll be a top 3, I wouldn't take him in the 3rd round because I would take the chance that he's still available 1 or 2 rounds later, or 3.
Okay, I can't wait to draft with you, and you take Drake London that early.
All right, let's see. Great podcast.
All right, guys. Really appreciate you guys letting me kind of take the reins of this, and we will be coming back week after week with way too much crap that we want to spew. Thank you, everyone. Please check us out. Dynasty Podcasts at the DinesPressBox.com. We have articles. Also check out the 1867 podcast, and have a great night.
Good night.